North Carolina have spoken out about the state's new non-discrimination law, but perhaps none so vocally than Montel Williams, the TV talk show host and advocate, has challenged elected leaders on Twitter about the law, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest. We reached out to both the governor and lieutenant governor to respond. So far, they have not responded to that request. Joining me tonight from Los Angeles to discuss the law, Montel Williams. Mr. Williams, thank you so much for your time. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, so I guess let's just start with this. I mean, you've written an op-ed in the News and Observer. What is drawing you to bring so much attention to this law?
You know, it's the entire tenor of what's going on in this country today. All of a sudden, we've decided that it's okay to hate. It's okay to discriminate. And my feelings have been always based on the fact that I spent 22 years in this country's military, in the Marine Corps and the Navy, fighting to protect and preserve the democracy we have and fighting for the Constitution of the United States, which gives every American protection, no matter who they are, whether they be LGBT or whether they be African American, Hispanic, Jewish, white, it doesn't matter. Everyone has protection. And when I see people who are doing things that are just trying to erode and trying to actually turn around what I fought for so many years, that I have to be outspoken. And you know, I'm glad that people stop for a second and reflect on what I have to say, listen, and consider the opinion. I'm not saying that I may be 100% right, but at least we should have a discussion about the incredible idiocy around your House Bill number 2. Just really idiotic.
So we'll probably hear from the Republicans now. Here we go, another, you know, all these big companies. Here we have a liberal celebrity from Los Angeles that's coming out saying this.
Whoa. Don't, you just said a liberal celebrity from Los Angeles.
I'm saying, I'm not saying you are.
Wrong. But wait, 100% wrong. Because anybody who knows me knows that I've been a Republican most of my life. I'm an independent now. I live in New York. I run businesses and do things associated with our military. I do more on the conservative side of this coin than anybody else that I think, as celebrity-wise, in the country. So, again, anybody shows, again, how ignorant those opponents would be to not even do their homework and recognize who it is they're talking to. And they're talking to a guy who believes in, again, our Constitution. For the last 2 years, I've done things like fight to get our servicemen out of prisons overseas. I've been fighting to make sure that we work against PTSD. I've been fighting to make sure that we work against killing our environment through high new technologies and biofuels. So I have a right to speak out when I think, again, that people are just being ignorant to our own Constitution. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off that way, but when you say I'm a liberal, I'm not a liberal. So anybody who says that needs to back up.
And I wasn't saying you were. I was just saying a lot of people say that about celebrities that come out about issues in states. What do you think about that role? I mean, you've been going back and forth a little bit with the lieutenant governor on Twitter. You spoke out to the governor as well. What's that interaction been like?
Well, I mean, you know, again, I'm glad that at least we're having the interaction. I mean, the lieutenant governor reached back and said, well, Montel, you've gotten it wrong. Well, no, I haven't gotten it wrong. And the truth of the matter is, when you read your bill, well, let me tell you, this is so crazy. This bill passes that says that transgender people have to use the bathroom of their birth. Okay, so every man in America should look at this, because this young lady right here, Megan Stabler, will be walking into a bathroom, the men's room in North Carolina. And for all the ladies out there, this gentleman will be coming into all of the ladies' rooms because they're transgendered. Now, I mean, tell me what woman in North Carolina wants to say, okay, I'm going to let you walk in the door, stand beside me while I'm washing my hands. How ignorant can this be? But it really was nothing more than a ruse to allow for the hate that has been percolating now for the last year and a half, giving people the right to express their hate. That hate is in a person by the name of Donald Trump, who's decided to make sure that he gives every American the right to think that you have the right to be as racist and ignorant as you possibly can be. Forgetting the fact that even after this upcoming election, we all have to figure out how we live together to stop those people from coming in here and taking away the very basis of our survival and our ability to survive.
Outside of the transgender bathroom issue, there's been a lot of talk, too, about whether the statewide, what lawmakers are calling non-discrimination law is discriminatory or law. It does match essentially with what the federal protected classes are. Does North Carolina deserve what the governor is calling a smearing of state policy when it's not really any different than what the federal government's is?
But it is a little different than what the federal government's policy is, because this bathroom law does allow you to discriminate. And once you start discriminating, you read into the deeper tenets of H.R. 2, you will see that it allows for It doesn't allow for any repercussions whatsoever. So a person who is discriminated against in your state, yeah, they can file a federal lawsuit and try to do so. But a person now, I'll go to now the celebrity thing. A person with the amount of money that I have can take on a state through the federal government. But most people can't. And they understand that. That's the reason why that bill was written, because now you can discriminate all you want, knowing that if a black African-American person walks into a restaurant or walks into a facility, you can say no and challenge them to take you to court, because they're not going to have enough money to do so. And that's where the ignorance comes in. Again, you know what? Some people feel that, they like you keep hearing this thing, I want to take America back to where it was. I don't know how far back some people want to go, but clearly some want to go back way farther than the majority of us want to live. Well, and the state will pay the cost for this.
You mentioned in your op-ed that when you're talking about the sponsors and the Republicans, that they believe this bathroom clause will poll well in Republican primaries with their conservative base. Is this in discussions you've had with people that you believe that this is an election issue that they think they can win on?
How about one off-the-record elected official in your state is the one who gave me that information themselves, and I'm not going to share back. But we talked directly to someone else who said that he believes unequivocally this was nothing more than a ruse. And they talked and heard this kind of discussion around those who actually put this bill forward. So, I'm going to say, again, the tenor right now in America is one that it's okay for you to say whatever you want. You have a right for your freedom of speech to be as separatist, as alienational as you can be, as discriminatory as you can be, and you feel like you have the right to do that, and your Constitution protects you from that. Well, it does, in some way. But it also protects others from being abused by your outbursts. And so I think that's what's going on right now, is that the fact that people just have this sense that, Donald Trump has emboldened them. He's given you the right to say, I'm going to say what I want. If you don't like it, I'll smack you upside your head, and I'll get some rich guy to defend me when I do it.
Some of the debate is...
This bill is pretty much the same.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Some believe this is an issue as well as what government should be able to tell businesses to do. When it comes to these kind of issues, where do you think the line is for what government should be able to tell businesses what to do?
I think that the Constitution of the United States is what tells every business in this country what to do. And it says that you do not have a right to discriminate against anybody, period. So it's not the government, it's the Constitution, the government of which you are a part of. So I would say to those people that, okay, if that's how you want to be, just get ready, North Carolina, to suffer the consequences of the economic sanctions that will be put on the state. I mean, you see, it's happened before, and it's going to happen again when you see major businesses start to pull out because they can't employ people under the Federal Employment Act because, they're going to feel as if while they're there, other subsets of them will think that they have a right to discriminate, so therefore they're going to get sued. So I would pull out of the state, too, and do what you want to do, but suffer the consequences accordingly.
We're about out of time, but do you plan to have an active role in what's going on here in North Carolina?
I'll have an active role in any place in this country where I feel as our Constitution is being degraded and that people are not getting the rights that I put my life on the line to fight for. And, it's not that I'm out to pick a fight with people. I'm just trying to say that there are people out here right now. There are Muslims, there are Native Americans, there are African Americans, there are Asians, Jewish, white, every nationality of the sun spending time overseas right now on bases defending a Constitution that says we don't have a right to discriminate. Period.
Mr. Williams, thank you. I'm sorry, I was just going to say thank you so much for your time. I know you have a busy schedule. I really appreciate a little bit of your time tonight.
Thank you so much for at least talking about it. And, again, we have two sides of an issue. I'm glad that both sides get a chance to be heard.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Time for one more break. When we return, we'll hear from the state's first African-American Chief Justice about his 50-year career in the law on the occasion of his retirement. Stay with us.